Good morning. Today is Wednesday, September 9th. Several years ago, when I was celebrating the 25th anniversary of my ordination to the priesthood, I was lucky enough to take a repositioning cruise on the Disney Magic from Los Angeles through the Panama Canal to Port Canaveral. And one of the port stops that we made was at Cartagena. And there I was amazed. In the early 1600s, St. Peter Claver left Spain and went to the New World. He wanted to be a missionary, and he arrived at Cartagena, and it was there that he finished his studies to the priesthood and was ordained. And it was there that he ministered to a certain group of people. Cartagena was the hub for the slave vessels that were coming over from Africa. They would be processed and they would be sent to different places in the New World to be sold. Peter Claver was so against slavery and all that they did to the slaves. And he took it upon himself to meet the slave ships when they came into port. Other people wanted to have nothing to do with the slaves. He would board the ships to help those who were most in need. And as the slaves came off of the ships, he would offer them food, water, rum, and lemons. Now you might think that that's kind of crazy, but actually the lemons were to help the slaves battle scurvy that they had contracted as they made the crossing. He cared for them as much as he could, even knowing that their plight was to go into slavery. And as he cared to them and ministered to them, he won many over to the faith. In his 40 years of doing this in Cartagena, he baptized over 300,000 of the slaves. And he spoke against slavery to all the people in the area. He spoke quite vociferously against slavery. And when he would go and hold retreats to all sorts of different areas, he refused to live with the plantation owners. Rather, he lived in slave quarters because he wanted their plight to become better known to the people so that maybe it would be addressed. I think this is a great memorial for us today as we celebrate the Feast of St. Peter Claver to remind us that injustices still go on. The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops and our own bishop have asked us to set today aside as a day of prayer and fasting and penance to address the serious sin of racism. We don't like to admit it, but many people have very racist attitudes, and their attitudes are keeping many people oppressed and downtrodden. We need to do all that we can to root out from ourselves anything that does not belong to Christ. We don't like to consider the deep, dark sins that we often nurse in our hearts, but this is a day to remind us that if we are far from God, we'd best address the issues and do all that we can to draw close to Him. For we are all brothers and sisters in the Lord, and we are all, yes, even you and me, we are all responsible for one another. God bless you this day and every day of your lives.